Dear friends, taking off from the last Saturday's episode on digital detox, this Saturday I'll take you through a few more ideas that will tell you something about digital detox. There has been a phenomenal increase, like I said, the last Saturday, in the use of internet and digital devices in our lives. This has caused a complete break in our family life and even social life. How do we retrieve what we have lost? Let's explore. Digital detox this week, a little more, so we return a semblance of normalcy to our lives. Friends, our life has several dimensions, several aspects. Wholesome or holistic happiness is the sum of satisfaction that we derive from each of those dimensions, each of those aspects. The cardinal ones of life zones, however, are rational, mindful, emotional, and heartful, or sometimes all of them taken together. By nature, human happiness is linked to desires and their realization. By contrast, therefore, the lack of happiness or stress is the difference or the variance between desires on one side and its realization on the other. If the human progress is based on desires, it is true too that we either have poor desires or have desires that make us feel poor. In the fast-paced world today, we have lost our ability to connect with life, with our life, and its various dimensions that I have spoken about. That makes desires random and leaves them afloat in a state of flux. We then run to a host of therapy centers that provide a natural healing of the body, mind, and the soul, in the hope that some magic wand would set them right. But do not lead our lives on principles of healthy living. We must follow the principles of healthy living rather than run to different centers that promise better life. What do these centers provide for all our ills? We seem to have many of them. Our lives, most of the times, are sedentary. We eat food that should never have been eaten. We live on medicines that are chemicals, and we abuse our mind, body, and soul till the time that they rebel. Cleansing the body and the mind is innate to Ayurveda, as it is also innate to yoga. Panchakarma, or the 5 procedures enshrined in Ayurveda, eliminate the toxins from the human body. Metabolism, a chemical process that occurs within living organisms to maintain life, leaves behind toxins which need to be flushed out. Yogic kriyas also help similarly to lead a contented life. Though these centers offer a host of services, we all must have gone there sometime or the other. They offer a host of services, like I said, for price tags that sometimes are fancy. It is debatable if they also provide a lasting balm to the toxic souls in agony. Are these toxins really flushed out? Or is this more a feel-good factor at the end of the spend of a fat purse. As a consequence, the theory and practice never ever meet. Once out of the therapy center, we tend to go back to our routine till the next detox sojourn. The pressures of the times we live in ultimately catch up with our destinies. In such a milieu, are we not multiplying our life pressures with digital toxins? Which panchakarma can bail us out of this predicament, the digital toxin? Mind mapped digital media now plays the Pied Piper, resulting in distancing us from our own vital life aspects and constantly trying or tying us to the choices put up by the marketeers. So it's the market that starts driving us. A vivid example of how we have lost our mind or are increasingly losing it to social media is how an individual may be unable to even recall by the evening as to what he or she liked on a social media post or page that he has been surfing the whole day. A wow does rarely bring in its wake a how. Thus, objectively, he is losing ground to false aspirations. Many friends have turned foes, enemies. Families have lost the personal touch. No longer even meet at the dining tables elicit any reaction. They don't have any interaction either, except staring blankly at the mobile screens. Fake forwards have played havoc with our personal lives. A research survey of over 7,000 participants found that approximately 70% of those who use technology with screens have experienced digital eye strain. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association reported that teens and young adults who frequently used digital media were more than twice as likely to develop symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or what we call as ADHD. This growing malaise in the society seeks moderation of the social media itself, primarily due to social media platforms' goal of encouraging constant use with likes, notifications, and infinite scrolling. Remember, I said the applications are explicitly built to elicit these reactions from us. In fact, few regulations are being thought of to ward off these long-term ill effects. Let's see some of them. To ward off these addictive features, social media platforms such as Instagram have begun to explore alternative methods, such as making likes on a user's post invisible to the user, to shift the focus away from constant notifications and likes. But that is neither here nor there. Some companies have even launched movements against technology addiction. For example, in October 2019, Google released Paper Phone, a Google product consisting of a printed piece of paper folded into eighths that contain relevant information to our day, much like a daily planner. We used to do that in the olden days. The motive behind the project is to provide the utility of a smartphone in a simplistic and less intrusive, less dynamic delivery. There are other projects focusing on building phones with less functionality, like the light phone, Simpo and Mudita. How useful such efforts will be when we are so addicted to smartphone features, like editing a film on the fly, is anybody's guess. Ultimately, if there is a will, there is a way. If I want to continue to use smartphone and be with it forever, then bear the consequences. This leads us to debate or deduce that our journey today is from nowhere to now where, or now here to nowhere. Development of personal, social and emotional aspects are never attached the weights they deserve in our lives. That's unfortunate. Digital detox, where we voluntarily refrain from using our smartphones, computers, handheld devices, internet and the social media platforms, is probably the digital panchakarma that we need. The brain has two lateral halves, also known as left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. They have neurons, receptors, which are used for various bodily functions. The signals are sent eventually for actions to take place. The left hemisphere of the brain is in charge of the rational functions, while the right hemisphere controls the emotional functions. Development of heartful and mindful abilities in a spatial or three-dimensional and temporal or chronological and sequential environment is the most ideal form of human development. Unfortunately, we are in a scenario where we get little time for reflection. We don't reflect at all. Do and forget. And are increasingly losing our ability to make personal choices. We are merely driven by digital and social media, and that will further deepen ahead with the onset of 5G and artificial intelligence. The advent of artificial intelligence is promoting, is herding and locking up human ability to think and reflect. Human social and emotional aspects will be lost in the maze ahead. The biggest ability is to reflect. That lets you grow. The biggest casualties of such advancement are our emotional and heartful intangibles, such as our conscious, our reflections, our ambitions, love, empathy, and many more. Friends, let's be rational. Let's be mindful. Let's be emotional. Let's be heartful, both to ourselves and to the people around us. That will bring great joy and fulfillment to our lives. Detox your system of all toxins, that includes digital. As Dr. Philip Glickman, a licensed clinical psychologist and the director of Wellness Road Psychology located in New York City, says, avoid drama. Maintain a mellow attitude. Don't sweat the small stuff. Be fun to hang out with. Make and follow your own trends. Pick your battles. Redirect your thoughts. Evaluate how much this matters. Do what your grandma would do. Go somewhere else. Stay away from toxic people and situations. Get proactive. Be confident. Find enjoyment in life. Ignore ignorant opinions. Keep a sense of humor. Don't procrastinate. Listen to music. play with little kids or animals, exercise, watch a funny movie, or play a game. All great ways of connecting with yourself. That's all for this Saturday, friends. And until we meet next Saturday, Dhanyavad, Namaskar, and thank you.